All right, let's talk about it. The CA Final FR exam is literally just around the corner, and I know that pressure is building. But hey, take a deep breath. We've got you. Think of this as your game plan for that final sprint to the finish line. Let's get straight into it. You're probably looking at that massive syllabus right now and thinking, how on earth am I going to revise all of this? It's a feeling we all know. You've got standards, adjustments, formats. It's just a mountain of information, and it can feel totally overwhelming. Honestly, it's the biggest hurdle for pretty much every single student. But here's the thing. What if we just cut through all that noise? Forget trying to memorize everything. We're going to build a high-impact roadmap that zeroes in on what actually gets you marks. This is all about getting the biggest bang for your buck in these last few days. Okay, let's get down to business. First up, we've got the heavy hitters, the big ones. These are your must-do topics. Seriously, these are non-negotiable. If you want to score well, this is where it all starts. And kicking things off is group accounting, consolidation. This covers both Ind AS 110 and 103. So we're talking about consolidated financial statements and business combinations. Look, nobody's saying it's easy, it's a beast for sure. But the great thing about it, it's predictable. You know it's coming. And this is exactly why it's so important. We're talking about a whopping 14 marks. And get this, it's the compulsory question. You can't skip it, you can't avoid it. That is a massive slice of your entire paper, all in one spot. So listen up, because this is probably the most important tip for this question. It's all about step marking. I'm going to say that again, step marking. Even if your balance sheet doesn't tally at the end, and let's be real, sometimes it won't, do not panic. And whatever you do, don't leave it blank. Just attempt every single adjustment you know. Every step gets you marks. And believe me, getting some marks is infinitely better than a big fat zero. All right, moving on to our number 2 high scorer, financial instruments. Yeah, I know. It's that monster chapter covering 3 different standards, 32, 107, and 109. It feels intimidating, right? But the payoff for tackling this one is absolutely huge. And here's the proof. You're looking at anywhere from 12 to 18 marks. Just think about that. That's why skipping this is, well, it's just not an option if you're serious about passing, let alone getting a great score. It's a massive weightage area you just have to be ready for. Okay, so to round out our big 3, we've got Ind AS 115 revenue. Think of this one as a regular guest star on the FR exam. It shows up with incredible consistency, paper after paper. Yeah, so when you look at this, you might think, okay, 5 to 10%, that's not as big as the others. But you'd be missing the point. The magic of Ind AS 115 isn't just the marks, it's the reliability. You can bet your bottom dollar you're going to see a question on it. It's basically a guaranteed shot at scoring points. All right, so once we've got the big 3 in the bag, it's time to get smart and secure our score. We're moving on to the next tier of topics. These are what I call the smart bets. They're tested all the time, and they're the ones that can take you from just scraping by to getting a really great result. So what's on this list? Well, we've got Ind AS 116 leases, always some tricky adjustments there. Then there's Ind AS 102, share-based payments, a classic examiner favorite. Of course, Ind AS 36 on impairment, and Ind AS 33, earnings per share, small standard, big impact. Can't forget Ind AS 37 on provisions, and finally, Ind AS 21 for foreign exchange. Seriously, tackling these right after the must-dos is the most efficient way to pile on the marks. Okay, let's zoom in on Ind AS 116, leases, for a second, because I want to show you a classic trap people fall into. When you're presenting the lease liability, it's so tempting to just classify the whole next installment as a current liability, right? Wrong. Here's the deal. It's only the principal portion that's due within 12 months that counts as current. The interest part, that gets excluded. Nail this little detail and you've just picked up an easy mark. Okay, so we've talked a lot about what to study. Now, let's switch gears and talk about how to score. These are the little tricks and strategies for exam day that make sure you get every single point you deserve for all that hard work. I know, we mentioned this already, but it is so unbelievably crucial that it gets its own moment in the spotlight. Step marking is your absolute best friend in that exam hall. The golden rule, never, ever leave a question blank. Just write down what you know, show your workings, show your steps, because every little correct piece can get you partial marks. It's how you turn a 0 into something that helps you pass. And here's another one. It seems so simple, but you'd be surprised how many marks people lose on this. Your presentation. It matters.
You have to follow the exact format laid out in Division 2 of Schedule 3. I'm serious. Don't just wing it or get lazy with the layout. Using the wrong format is just giving away free marks. It's totally avoidable, so don't do it. Last but not least, let's quickly talk about amendments, because you need to be up to date. This timeline makes it super clear. The official cutoff date for any new rules to apply to your exam is October 31st, 2025. See those two amendments from May and August 2025? Well, they came in before the cutoff. So, what does that mean for you? It means they're fair game for your paper. Make sure you've gone over them.
Whew, okay, that was a lot, I know. So let's bring it all home. We're going to pull everything we've talked about into one simple, powerful action plan you can use right now in these final days.
So here it is, your final checklist. Number 1, absolutely crush the big 3, consolidation, financial instruments, and revenue. Then lock in those extra marks with the smart bets like leases and provisions. Third, use step marking on every single question, no exceptions. 4, nail that presentation format down to the last detail. 5, double-check you're up to date on those 2 new amendments. And finally, the theory-heavy stuff like Ind AS 37, don't just read it, get a pen and paper out. Written practice is key to remembering that specific terminology.
And that's it. A clear, focused strategy for these last crucial days. You have the plan, you have the knowledge, so the only question left to ask is, are you ready to go out there and turn all this into a success? I think you are. Now go get it.